Developing operational concepts to deter North Korea poses unique challenges for the United States and South Korea, as well. What are the possible deterrence measures with expected North Korea's provocation, declared by the end of 2019? The nuclear armament of South Korea is a feasible next step against threatening brought by North Korea. But, yes, there are obvious gaps even in alliances. First, let's review the current status of South Koreans' view about nuclear armament to avoid the risk of North Korean saber-rattling with ICBM and nuclear weapons. As the level of North Korea's provocation increases now in the Korean peninsula, South Koreans have started to firmly believe that South Korea should also have its own nuclear weapons. This issue becomes salient at present. Poll results show the trend. In fact, the proponents' rate for the nuclear capability of South Korea has steadily marked around 60 to 68% over the last few years. By contrast, opponents' rate was merely 30% levels. A 2017 public poll found 68% of South Koreans support nuclear armament, while only 30% are opposed. Perhaps, proponents are likely more increased with the breakdown of Trump-Kim's bromance as of now. Thus, the nuclear armament in South Korea is not the only argument of the few radicals of the past. Even moderately speaking parties are saying affirming the need for nuclear weapons. While clear discuss has not been made yet at National Assembly levels, the comprehensive agreement to embrace South Korea's nuclear armament is being quickly changed, to be implemented as long as North Korea's saber-rattling continues. But, the US was not in favor of nuclear armament in South Korea as well as Japan. Instead, the US proposed nuclear umbrella options. Japan and South Korea are now under the US nuclear umbrella that promises defense against threats. The United States has never endorsed South Korea's own nuclear armament. Every time North Korea tested its nuclear weapons, the demand for a tactical nuclear redeployment has risen, but it has always declined. At this juncture, Korean conservatives have believed twofold principles. First, the US-Korea alliance is crucial and should be maintained. And second, they have claimed to secure Korean nuclear armament even if the US-Korea alliance is important. This becomes more fundamental problems that South Korean conservatives concern, while this is not backlash toward the alliance itself. Underlying issues are how the US and Korea alliance is durable and reliable. As viewpoint of the globe examined in the earlier episodes, the US-South Korean alliance is strained by their differences over military pacts, GSOMIA, the Pact for the Military Information Sharing Pact between Japan and South Korea. The issue is likely to weaken the alliance relationships. Many Washington folks noted that the US and Korea alliance is already a thorny issue and admit there are huge daylights between Seoul and Washington as well as Tokyo. Further, the cost-sharing disputes of American troops stationed in South Korea also become an ongoing conflict. Korean people may be wondering about a five-fold increase in military costs and also feel angry about Trump's outlandish demand. Some people believe that Trump's mercantile approach to stationing American troops abroad is highly detrimental to America's role in the world. The experts also pointed out. Bruce Bennett, a senior defense analyst at the Rand Corporation Research Center. He noted that, quoted, because of that pressure, the alliance is not quite as strong as it's been at some points in the past. Further, US troops withdrawal from South Korea is more salient because long-lasting Trump's view toward the cost burden of the US was skeptical. Trump has frequently complained about the expense of maintaining service members on the divided peninsula. At this juncture, the conflict and different views exist between Washington and Seoul. According to the U.S. Disarmament Association data, there are currently 6,490 warheads in Russia, 290 in China, and 30 nuclear warheads in North Korea. Surrounded by these nuclear powers, South Korea gave up developing nuclear weapons and remained a non-nuclear state, because the US promised extended deterrence, so-called nuclear umbrella, in the past decades. With Trump's mercantile approaches, South Koreans, and even conservatives, start to find the ultimate ways to protect themselves. Trump has said it is unfair that the Americans spend money on deploying strategic bombers, nuclear carriers, nuclear submarines, and military training on the Korean peninsula. Thus, South Koreans cast doubts. First, the United States is still a faithful alliance? And secondly, what are the reliable solutions to firmly protect South Koreans? In the meantime, changes also happen in Washington. During the campaign of the US presidential election in 2016, Trump also said he would be open to allowing Japan and South Korea to build their nuclear arsenals, rather than depend on the American nuclear umbrella for their protection against North Korea and China. Trump said he would be willing to withdraw United States forces from both Japan and South Korea, if they did not substantially increase their contributions to the costs of housing and feeding those troops. As a result, there is another option. Nuclear sharing is the answer. Nuclear sharing is a concept in NATO's policy of nuclear deterrence, which involves member countries without nuclear weapons of their own in the planning for the use of nuclear weapons by NATO. It is essential to deploy the US B-61 tactical nuclear bombs in 5 alliance countries, including Germany, Italy, Belgium, the Netherlands, and Turkey. The US offers training and prepares for a counterattack of bombing enemy countries in case of nuclear war. While the final authority for the use of nuclear weapons depends on the US president, the Nuclear Planning Group, combined with both the United States and NATO Secretary of Defense of NATO alliances, has discussed nuclear strategy and nuclear weapons planning every year. Seoul citizens believe this nuclear sharing program deployed in NATO is a more reliable and much safer way vis-a-vis North Korea's threatening. Seoul may assert the following agenda in the near future and want to sit on the table with Washington. Washington should share its nuclear tactical missiles with Japan and South Korea, to deter North Korea's growing nuclear threat to East Asia and the US. Obviously, either Korean-owned nuclear armament or nuclear sharing program is not a simple issue realized over one night. We will discuss more in the next episode. Please press subscribe and stay tuned.